And we've got him on the line right now, the great Tommy James, one of the great voices in music, and lots of great songs that we play here all the time on Saturday Night Oldies. And he's also a great guest we always love having on. Tommy James, how are you?
Hey, Mark, how are you? Nice to talk with you.
Very good. I'm great. I'm looking at all the stuff you got going on. Boy, I'm tired just reading this. God. You're a busy guy.
It's pretty intense this year. It really is.
Now, February 10th, that's Tuesday night, you're going to be at B.B. King's.
That's right.
That's a great club. It's nice and intimate.
It's a wonderful venue to work, and it's fun, and it's right in the middle of New York, and, it's great to be back with the New York fans again.
Yeah. I guess when you get to be a big rock act and you're playing enormous places, you miss being in like just a nightclub where people can see you.
Well, that's very true. We don't do clubs generally, and but this is such a great place. I mean, playing BB's is always great. We played there a couple of years ago and loved it, and it's great to be back.
Yeah, it's a great place. Now, Tommy James, also, let's see, you got your this big package came out, the complete singles collection.
Right. That came out over the Christmas holidays. It's called 40 Years, and it is all of it's a double CD. It's a 2-disc CD set, and it's all of the singles from 66 through 2006.
47 singles.
Yeah. What? Yeah, that's true. And it was a real labor of love putting this together, because it was tough putting it together, actually, because we had so much stuff. We had 5 labels in the course of those 40 years. Of course, a great number of those years were on Roulette.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them came from Roulette, that's owned by Warner Brothers now, and Rhino Records. But basically, we had quite a tough job compiling all this stuff, but we finally got it all together.
And it's a great collection. Hey, a lot of times people listen to, they got parents that complain about rap music, and it's too dirty, and it's too this, and but we don't realize, when Hanky Panky came out, or I Think We're Alone Now, these were risque songs.
These were dirty records.
Yeah, I mean, you got the same flack back then.
We did, that's true. It's funny, we got, I Think We're Alone Now, actually, I think, got banned in Detroit. And we actually had a tough time getting it on the air in Detroit for some reason. I've always found that interesting, because the number one record at the time was Let's Spend the Night Together by the Rolling Stones. just a little hypocrisy in there.
Yeah, but Ed Sullivan wouldn't let him sing that lyric on the show.
That's true. That's true.
But I remember a little kid, My Baby Does Hanky Panky. That was unbelievable. How could you say that in a record?
That's true.
Now, also you got this wonderful book coming out, your autobiography.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when you're a big rock and roll star, you can't possibly write everything you did.
Well, I'll tell you the truth.
You can't tell all.
I was actually working on this for about 8 years, and I started out writing it with Martin Fitzpatrick, who is a really terrific writer, has another book on the bitter end out, and really is a good rock and roll writer. And we just sat down. We were originally going to call it Crimson and Clover, and just sort of go through my life. But the funny thing was, by the time we got done with it, we actually had a deal as of this last about midway through 2008 with Simon & Schuster, and so they were going to put out the book. So we fluffed up the name just a little bit, because it was so much of the book ended up being about the years at Roulette Records with a lot of very shady characters up there, and we ended up calling it Me, the Mob, and the Music.
Yeah, it's a great title, Me, the Mob, and the Music.
It's very true, because not many people actually knew this, but Roulette Records started out as a front for the Genovese crime family. That's a true story, and I didn't know that when we signed. I don't think many people knew it, but it was the truth. And Morris Levy, the head of the record company, was basically...
now, he's dead now, right?
He has died.
Oh, okay,
I really did.
Great.
I told him Mark Simone talked me into writing this.
Well, I used to know him, but...
Right, well, but the thing of it was, I really didn't feel right putting this out until, the last of the Roulette regulars passed away, and that was in December of 2005. So.
And more than just principle, maybe it's better to wait till he dies.
You're very, very right. And so anyway, lo and behold, about 2 months later, we get a call from Martin Scorsese's office.
Wow.
And we just flipped. I mean, this is just sort of all come together in the last 3 months. And it's going to be made into a movie.
So we're going to see you played by Joe Pesci, or De Niro.
Well, I don't know about that. That's funny. If I ever get a chance, I'm going to tell him you said that.
No, Joe Pesci will be you. Frank Vincent will be Morris Levy.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that. The funny part is, I'm really too close to it to start picking people. I start fantasizing about it, but there's really a lot of great people that could play some of these characters. But this is Morris Levy was a character right out of Central Casting himself.
Hey, the guy in The Sopranos, that character Hesh.
Yes, that's Moish.
Moish. A lot of people think that's Morris Levy.
That is Morris Levy. They called him Moish, M-O-I-S-H, and that was his real name. And but it was also named only insiders called him, and the record producer that put his name on all the singles, that's who Hesh was, and that's very definitely Morris Levy. And the Tony Soprano was Tony Salerno.
Oh yeah.
From he was quite literally the Jersey wing of the Genovese family.
Yeah.
And so, that's what all this is about. But what's so amazing was rubbing shoulders with these characters at the same time we're making these pop records. And it was, there's almost a zaniness to it because of that. There's almost this kind of schizophrenic quality to it of, here we are doing Money Money, and I think we're alone now, and we've got this really, street-level story in the background with hair on it going on behind the scenes. And it's all quite true. So it's going to be a really interesting story, and, of course, there's a lot of music in it, too. It really is an incredible combination of, wise guys and rock and roll, and it's... when you're living it, you don't realize that this is an important story, but, you back away from it a little bit, and it's going to be fun.
Well, we're talking to Tommy James. When is this book coming out? I'm dying to read.
Well, the book will be out in August.
I can't wait till August. This sounds great.
Well, thank you very much. We're actually having fun writing. The amazing thing for me is how therapeutic all this is. First of all, because I've never really been able to talk about this, but secondly, because it's so much fun reliving this stuff and actually getting a chance to, reliving it through the movie.
But the mob being involved in these record companies, it's not like today where you download stuff. Back then, you had to have a pressing plant. You had to have trucks to deliver these records.
Yeah.
You had to be able to get them into jukeboxes. Maybe, you sort of needed some mob help sometimes.
Well, the funny part is... nobody was better at promoting singles than Roulette. I mean, they really knew how to do it.
Well, who's going to say no?
Well, right. You've got a point there, and I always marveled at the fact that these guys were so involved in the record business and vending machines and all this stuff, and they really, controlled the action. And of course, it's only in later years that we realize the involvement, the total involvement of these guys, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where we went into it as sort of hayseeds from the Midwest, and really got quite an education.
Yeah. But, you go back to the 30s, 40s, even obviously the 20s, and mobs controlled the nightclubs, so it was only logical.
And Vegas.
And it's only logical.
And all the action, the coin-operated machines, the jukeboxes.
Yeah, so it's only logical they'd get into the record business.
No, that's true. That's very true, and especially in the New York area.
So these mob guys, and if they're running Roulette Records, which is a big company, they must have had some kind of ear for music. They must have known what they were doing.
Well, that's the strange part about all this. Morris was really talented. I mean, the thing of it is, there was, he and I sort of had this love-hate relationship. I mean, I didn't hate him. I mean, this intense dislike, shall we say, at one level, because, everything that I say about this guy, I always have a comma beside, because if it weren't for Morris Levy, there wouldn't be a Tommy James.
Yeah.
And so everything I say is filtered through this, and there were parts of Morris that were very noble. I mean, the funny part is there's many things about Morris that I respected, but yet there's this terrible dark side that, doing business with him was like taking a bone from a Rottweiler. I mean, it was just flat out, you're not getting paid.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I guess if you're a big rock and roll star and make all this money, half of it probably never got to you.
Well, that's true. And thankfully, we made it for most of it afterwards. But, I mean, it was really a very difficult tightrope to walk up there.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be some book, Me, the Mob, and Music, and it's coming out in August by Tommy James. And it's already a Martin Scorsese movie deal. And I guess you'll do the soundtrack, huh?
Well, we're going to do some. I don't know exactly how much of it I'm going to be able to do, but I'm going to be having to tell the story in great detail as we go along. So I'm obviously going to be a technical advisor on it. I probably have a little cameo part in the movie or something, elevator operator or something. But it's going to be fascinating to watch it all come together.
Yeah, and Scorsese is great at putting music into his films.
He is the best in the world. And I got to tell you something. I'm so flabbergasted that it happened this fast, and that because there's nobody better to do this kind of a movie.
Yeah. Like in Casino, would you have thought to use House of the Rising Sun? And I mean, who would have even thought of that with that movie?
That's true. That's true. And of course, the coming together of these people with rock and roll, has never been, really out there before. There's been rumors about it, and they've been talked about, but nobody's ever just done it. And it's going to be a very fascinating couple of years.
Wow. Well, Tommy James, I can't wait to read this book, Me, the Mob, and Music. And now February 10th, that's Tuesday night, you'll be at BB King's.
Yes, and we're going to make the announcement about the movie that night, too.
Oh.